Hello, Sona here from Bose Learning with another Upgrade Your OET lesson. We've had a question come in from Tamana, one of our YouTube students, who asked me, is there a benefit to reading lots of OET writing sample letters? And I say absolutely yes. In fact, read all the sample letters you can that you know are from a reputable source, even if they are not your own profession, because you can still gather lots of information about layout, opening lines, closing lines, and organisation. So what we're going to do today is look at some sample letters together. Don't worry if they're not your own particular branch of science, that's fine. We're going to look at them and I promise you'll get some takeaways that you can use in your own letters. As for me, as I said, my name is Sona. I'm a premium preparation provider from Bose Learning. And if you do like these videos, then please can you do me a favour and press that like button, subscribe to us and share this with a friend or a colleague who you think might like them as well. Okay, so as I said, these samples have all been taken from the OET website. Go and have a look, there's lots on there. And have a look at all the ones which are not connected to your profession, because I can guarantee you that you'll find them useful and you'll be able to take away some useful things that you might be able to use in your own letter. Let me show you exactly how to do that. So, first of all, I'm going to have a look at the dentistry, dietetics, medicine and nursing samples, and they're all sample test 1. Of course, they're individual ones connected to each specific profession. So take a look at the actual samples from there. Have a look at the case notes. Don't worry, you don't need to spend too long having a look at them, but just have a quick look over the case notes. What we really need to focus on is the actual ending. So what should be done, in this case, refer to the endodontist and any other management or care plans. Now, for me, I actually didn't even know what an endodontist is. Don't worry about that. Go and look it up. So in case you need to know, an endodontist specialises in root canals. So I checked this on the Collins Dictionary, and it's a branch of dentistry concerned with diseases of the dental pulp. Thankfully, I don't know too much about this. I'm sure it's a great profession, but not something that I'm familiar with. But it doesn't matter at all. Just take a look at the sample and we'll see what we can pull out. What will you be able to use in your own letter writing? We're going to take a look at the actual sample letter that the OET have provided. Familiarise yourself with the format. So we've got the receiver's name and address here. We've got the date, we've got the dear line, and then we've got the re line. So the title, Mrs. in this case, it could be Mr., Ms., etc. First name, surname, and date of birth. So what is this opening line then? We've got a really nice expression, thank you for seeing, plus the patient's name, again, title, first name, surname, their age, and a little bit about them, in this case that they're a smoker. The next line is what happened. I was unable to finalise her root canal treatment, and why I'm referring her to you. I would be grateful if you could provide further management of this case. So this is a really nice structure, not just for dentistry, but for all of you, if it's appropriate. Thank you for seeing the patient, their name and age, maybe background information, what happened and why you're referring. Now, let's take a look at the internal paragraphs here. How have they been organised? So we have Mrs. Williams was first advised on the date, then the next time she came to visit, and then today. So in this case, we've got 3 body paragraphs which are all listing chronological events. What she was first advised, then this, and then here today. After we've got this summary, again, read it more carefully, but we're just trying to get a general outline here. We've got a reiteration of the request. Okay, please assess and treat as necessary. So remember, that's part of the OET criteria that you open and then you emphasize all the way through. And then what's this last paragraph here? It's a very short one. Well, it just contains additional information, in this case her medical history and her medication and her allergies. This is important because penicillin might be relevant to the reader. How does it end? We've got another nice line. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you require any further information. And then, of course, yours sincerely. So we've got a nice summary of what's happened here in the letter. And what I really want you to do is go away and do this yourself. Because as I say, there are lots of samples and you can pull out so much useful information from here. Let's move on to the next one, which is the dietetics letter. Again, if you're not familiar with what it means, don't worry, look it up. It's really easy. I did exactly that on the Collins Dictionary, and it's a scientific study and regulation of food intake and preparation. Again, don't worry if this is not your profession. Still, have a look at the sample answers because they will help you. In this case, it is a letter back to the referring GP. So it's kind of a summary going back to the GP. Okay, how is this sample letter presented? What's our opening line? I am writing to you regarding your patient. So here we have a nice phrase, and we've got that repetition again. Name, title, first name, surname. And then what happened? They attended today for advice. And now why I'm writing to you. As per your request, I am outlining my advice. So why you're writing, the patient's name, what happened, and then a little bit more about what you're going to do. What about these paragraphs? How have they been organised? We've got a summary of the discussion here, just going over what was discussed in the consultation. Then we've got the additional advice that you gave. And the result of this discussion and advice was that a menu plan has been drawn up. However, he does not wish to take these supplements, for example, so there's a further request. Please check this with him. Your patient is disinterested in taking the intramuscular injections, and I've advised him to discuss this with you, so this is really a request to the GP to please discuss this. Then we have extra information, that additional information at the end, that you've given him a written record and he can contact you if you need any further help. There isn't really a closing line, is there? The extra information is the closing line that he can contact you if he needs further support. So that's interesting. Again, we've got a nice opening, a really nice way of organising things, and then, no closing line. So that's another interesting thing in itself. Now we've got the medicine one, which is probably the one you were waiting for, but do go and have a look at the other ones as well. As I say, I'm going to keep saying this because I really think you should do it. This time it's a referral, as I say, and it's a referral to the gastroenterologist. Okay, so how has this been presented? What's the opening line? Thank you for seeing the patient's name. No first name this time, just the surname, their age and their occupation. Then we have their presenting complaint, and then why you're writing. You're referring her to the reader for further investigation and an endoscopy if required. So thank you for seeing, patient's name, age, occupation, the complaint and why you're writing. What about this structure here? We've got a paragraph all about the symptoms, when they commenced, and the exclusion of the differential diagnosis. There are no apparent signs of anxiety. Then we have a paragraph all about lifestyle and medication. We've got coffee, the aspirin, the history, more about the history here, social drinking, and the family history. So that's all been summarised under lifestyle and medication. And what about this paragraph here? It's your recommendations. What have you done? What have you prescribed? The closing line is, again, I would be grateful if you could provide the patient with. So this is a reiteration of the request. And if you require any further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. And then the other one you were probably waiting for, the nurse's one. This time it's a discharge letter back to the community nurse at the retirement home, and the patient's taking the letter with them. Okay, so how has this been presented? Well, what about the opening line? We've got the patient's name and what happened. He was admitted to hospital on this date and why. He had contracted pneumonia, but now he's ready for discharge. So if you see, we've got a recurring theme amongst all these letters: the patient, what happened, and why you're writing. The internal organisation depends on the actual case notes and what's important and who you're writing to. In this case, again, we've gone back to a chronological presentation because that's what makes sense. On admission, plus the symptoms he was suffering at the beginning. Then what happened in hospital, his progress and how his symptoms and problems of pneumonia were managed. And then his ongoing needs and medication, paracetamol, and then, for example, make sure he ambulates regularly. Then we have that additional information, and again, that always comes at the end. He was weak on admission, he's gained weight, great, but he needs ongoing monitoring of his diet. And then the closing line, a little bit of a variation on the same theme. If you have any queries, please contact me. So what can we take away? How can you use this information? Gather together a bank of opening lines. As I say, there's always a theme. It's who, what happened, and why you're writing. So we have thank you for seeing patient and age, what happened, why I'm referring her. I am writing to you regarding your patient. So that's an alternative you can put in your bank of opening lines. Or I'm writing to you regarding your patient, very similar here. And then just the patient and what happened. The organisation depends. It could be a chronological presentation, then a reiteration of the request, then additional information, or a summary and the advice given and the request, and then extra information, or symptoms, lifestyle, medication and recommendations, or presentation and medication, management, ongoing plan and additional information. This, as I say, really does vary. However, there's always the reiteration for the reason that you're writing. For example, I would be grateful if you could provide the patient with ... whatever it is. And then some for your bank here for closing lines. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you require any further information. Nothing. Or if you require any further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Or if you have any queries, please contact me. Try and memorize these ones. I'm always reluctant to tell you to memorize things, but I think for the opening and the closing, that's absolutely fine. And then think about the organisation. Go away and do this yourself. Have a look at all the other samples that they've given you. Pull out interesting openings, interesting closings, and then look at organisation. I think that will really help build your skills and understanding of the OET writing task. For more information about our on-demand courses, take a look at the information box below where I've put in some discount codes for you. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to click that like button if you like this video, share it with a friend or a colleague and subscribe to us. And why not watch one of our other videos right now? We've got lots, so go back and have a look at what we've done before. Thanks very much. See you next time. Bye bye.